How is Squad Builder Showdown going to work with no chemistry on the game? How is Squad Builder Showdown going to work? How do you think Squad Builder Showdown is no Squad Builder Showdown? Squad Builder Showdown is dead. 23 is no chemistry. That's that then. Squad Builder Showdown is no more. It is not possible to carry on the series with the new FIFA 23 chemistry changes. Is what the comment section would have you believe, but that is absolutely not true. And later this week, Squad Builder Showdown will return in FIFA 23. And in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how. There's a little bit of change because obviously we've got a new chemistry system, but all in all, it's the exact same as it's always been. And in today's video, I'm going to talk you guys through how it's going to work, the new rules, the slight changes that we had to make, but how it's basically the same series as always. Let's get into it. So, into the explanation we go. Because Squad Builder Showdown is not dead, and I'm going to show you guys how it's going to work. It's pretty simple. It's basically the same as always. The first rule is that you have to have all of your players on full chemistry. That's always been a rule of Squad Builder Showdown, and it's still going to be. Chemistry has slightly changed, so I'm going to give you guys a very brief and quick rundown of how it works, but it's as simple as that, to be honest with you. However, there is some scenarios, and I'm going to take you guys through some other little intricacies and rules, so we can always refer back to this video and have a basic understanding of how the series is going to work. So, chemistry on FIFA 23 is the three little stars underneath, or the three little diamonds underneath a player's card. On the left, you can see how they can get more chemistry. So, for example, an extra Korean, we've got 1 out of 2 so far, so that'd give him a point. 2 more Premier League players would give Son a point, or 1 more Spurs player would give Son a point. Now, the most important thing for FIFA 23 is that players have to be in the exact correct position. So Son now has a exclamation mark underneath his card because he's playing left wing. Has to be an actual left wing. You can make Son a left winger, but he has to be one in order to get chemistry and contribute to the team's chemistry. So if we pop him back at left mid and we add in 2 more Premier League players, so we'll go with Gabriel Jesus and we will go with Ruben Dias, that will give all of them 1 chemistry because we've ticked off the first 3 of Premier League. It's as simple as that. That is how chemistry works. There's lots of different ways to get chemistry using different things. So for example, if we change to a formation that allows CDM, so we can pop Højbjerg in and his chem counts, instantly 1 chemistry with Son because they both play for Spurs, and we've ticked the first one of that off. If we add in Gabriel Jesus, that'll give us 3 Prem players as well, which will get 2 chemistry for Son and Højbjerg, but only 1 for Gabriel Jesus because he doesn't get the Spurs point. That is basically all you need to know. Experience will allow you guys to understand it more, but it is that simple. It's just also incredibly convoluted and complicated because there's millions of different nations and leagues and players and clubs. But that, in essence, is how it works. It's not actually as complicated as you think once you get your head around it. Where it gets complicated for Squad Builder Showdown is building a team and trying to be sneaky and trying to get your players in without being able to get guessed. And this is where people seem to be getting a little bit confused because they think you're going to be able to just put in any players and be like, ha, how could you possibly guess my players? I can link them across the pitch. It's actually a lot more difficult than you think to be able to get chemistry on your players. And before we come on to that, and I've got some scenarios to show you guys, I also want to say I was talking to James this morning about this. We've had a little bit of a discussion. Let me know what you think in the comment section for secondary positions and having players on full chemistry. So if, for example, we are talking about Heung-min Son, he has to be a left wing to play left wing. So you would have to convert him in game, but he is going to be allowed, secondary positions are going to be allowed in Squad Builder Showdown in FIFA 23, providing they are 1 either side of their default position. That is where it's really, really important. So it is perfectly viable for you to play Son at left wing in Squad Builder Showdown in FIFA 23 because he starts as a left mid and left wing is 1 position away from a left mid. The same goes for Højbjerg. This man can be converted to a centre mid and centre mid is 1 position away from CDM. Where it starts to get a little bit confusing is players like Gabriel Jesus. Gabriel Jesus is a striker. That's how he comes out of packs. He can play centre forward. That is 1 position away from striker. That is fine. That is how Squad Builder Showdown has always been. But on FIFA 23, Gabriel Jesus can also be a right winger. Now this type of position change is going to take up your icon or hero. As we had when we got the crazy footies cards with the crown at the end of last year, chemistry breakers, as we're going to call them, that is 1. You can have 1 of them. You can have a hero, you can have an icon, you can have a footies card when we get to that point, you can have a captain's shapeshifter hero thing when we get to that point, or you can have a secondary position, but a proper secondary position. A right wing from a striker, a left mid from a left back. Left back to left wing back, that is fine. Centre mid to CDM, that is fine. Centre mid to striker, that is not fine. That takes up your thing. So there's extra knowledge and there's extra ways to play around this year. But We're trying to keep it as simple and as easy to understand as possible and keep the teams nice and balanced and fair. So let's jump into the scenarios and I'll show you guys why it isn't completely broken and why it's still going to work and it's still going to be possible to guess people's teams. So we're doing Squad Builder Showdown. We're doing it on Mbappe. You've gone mental and picked Vinicius Jr. and Mo Salah as your other players because it doesn't matter. They don't link together. You don't have to get a perfect link to Mbappe to get him full chemistry now. No, that's not a thing anymore. It's fine. You can just pick them if you want. Problem with that is you have to get all three of them onto full chemistry. And it's a lot more difficult than you might think without being incredibly obvious with your picks that you're going to choose. Now, this is the whole point of Squad Builder Showdown. It has a million different intricacies and we're not going to be able to cover every single possible scenario and they will come up, I'm sure, as we're filming videos throughout the year. And we might have to address some of them at the point of recording and decide on a fair little outcome between the two of us. But Squad Builder Showdown's always been like that. That's part of the fun. It's part of trying to outsmart your opponents, build clever squads, get good players in, lose your players, have a laugh, discard your players, everyone enjoys. That's kind of the point. So if, for example, you thought, right, I'm going to get my chemistry for Vinicius Jr. by building a full Real Madrid midfield. Now, it's very, very bait, but you might get away with it because I might write down Artur, Thiago, Jordan Henderson, thinking you're going to get your Salah chemistry at this point. So you got away with it. You've done it. Well done. You now need chemistry for your Salah and Mbappe. So you might go, okay, Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold. You still don't have chemistry on your Salah, Robertson, or Trent full chem, and you have zero chemistry on your Mbappe. Who are you going to pick to finish this team off? Konate, Kimpembe, Lafont. I'm not even sure that would get full chem. Do you see where I'm coming from? This is why it's hard. So at this point, who are you going to write down? You're going to write down Robertson and Trent. Of course you are. Who are you going to write down for centre back? You're going to write down Konate. You're going to write down Kimpembe. You're going to lose all your players. So yes, you might be like, haha, I've got Vinicius and Salah. I've outsmarted you with the new chemistry. You haven't. You've lost all your defense and you're going to discard your Salah and your Mbappe. So let's have a look at some of the scenarios. Scenario 2. Maybe you think, right, okay, I'm going to be smart about it then. I'm not going to just pick all Real Madrid. I'm a clever man. You guys might be watching this thinking, that's stupid. I wouldn't do that, Andy. I know how this is. Fine. Okay. You're going to go for Artur because not only does he play for Liverpool and give Salah a chemistry, he is also Brazilian and he gives Vinicius a chemistry. Thiago, same thing. Extra Prem, extra Liverpool. He's Spanish. We've got La Liga. You're thinking ahead. Well done. You're smart. You're doing it clever. And then you chuck in your final Liverpool player just to get all the Liverpool players onto full chemistry. Well done. Good job. Right. Okay. You're building this squad. You now have an Mbappe who needs some chemistry, a Spanish player, and you need to get Real Madrid players in to get Vinicius full chemistry. Who are you going to pick for fullback? Mendy to link to Mbappe and Carvajal to link to Thiago. It's not very sneaky. It's very obvious. Ridiculously obvious, you could say. And you're just going to lose your fullbacks because it's not as sneaky as you might think, essentially, is what this video is about. This new chemistry system, yes, it's different. And yes, you can link players across the pitch, but you still have to get the players onto full chemistry. If you decide to ignore your players up front, you still have to get them chemistry. The fact that you're doing it with your two centre-backs and goalie doesn't really matter. That just means you're going to lose your two centre-backs and goalie instead. And just because I'm trying to anticipate the questions that are going to come from this video, you might say, I wouldn't pick Carvel. That's far too bait. I'd go Jesus Navas. Jesus Navas now doesn't have full chemistry. You're going to have to pick Sergio Ramos at centre-back. You're going to lose your Sergio Ramos. Whichever way you go, it's like it's Squad Builder Showdown, isn't it? Whichever path you go down, you're probably going to lose some players. That's always how it's been, and that's always how it's going to be. It's going to be confusing. I appreciate that. Not everyone is going to want to plan their squad ahead of time. Some people are going to lose their formation, and then they're going to have to think on the fly. And you might get to the end of your squad, and you might think, okay, I can fix this. We can sort this out. I'm going to get a perfect link to Mbappe with Kimpembe. I'm going to bring in Marquez to get the double counting with the heroes for La Liga. He's going to get my La Liga players onto full chemistry. You get a Pop Lafont in. He doesn't get full chemistry. Goalie is gone. As far as I am aware, and from checking, there is not a single way you could possibly get this team onto full chemistry. No players, no combo will get you full chem in this squad on every player. There's ways to get the defense onto full chemistry, but then Modric won't be. There's ways to get the goalie onto full chemistry, but then the centre-backs won't be. Doesn't happen. Any players at the end of Squad Builder Showdown that do not have 3 chemistry are replaced with bronzes. So build wisely, ladies and gentlemen. If any of you guys are watching that are going to be filming with me, build wisely, because you could end up in very, very dire straits by the end of the squad building section. So then finally, just to give you guys an idea of a squad that you might expect to be built, stuff like this. And this kind of shows you how hard it is to get full chemistry on all of your players. You're not going to pick, if you're doing Mbappe squad building, you're not going to pick Vinicius and Salah, right? Yeah, that's stupid. Yes, like we've just showed, you'd get away with it because nobody's writing that down. You would then struggle to get full chemistry without losing all of your players. So nobody's going to do that. You're probably going to pick a French team or a Ligue 1 team or a little bit of a mixture. But even then, it's hard to get chem. So we've used Saint Maximin here. He comes out of Pax as a left mid. So he's allowed to be played left wing because that is fine. That is normal. That is just one either side. If you wanted to play Mbappe left wing, you wouldn't be able to do that. But you've got 5 French people in this squad. and none of them have full chemistry yet. Don't get me wrong, it's not particularly difficult to get them full chemistry. It's just guessable, which is good, which is fun. So you might go Thomas Lemar. That's good. That gets the La Liga ones onto full chemistry. You could then maybe put in a Premier League left back. Let's go Cucurella, just to use on, which gets the French Premier League players full chemistry. We still need to get a little bit for Cucurella. We still need to get a little bit for Mbappe, but you know, that's doable. You could maybe go Sergio Ramos. You could just do an Italian and build a full French team if you wanted to, but even when you do that, you just guess them. You just French players, innit? We always guess Italianese players because he just builds a French team. So people are going to want a hybrid, but it's actually quite difficult to get full chemistry, as it always has been. You have to go for strong links and perfect links and stuff. So for example, you might think, okay, I've got my French players. Mbappe's from Ligue 1. Throw some Ligue 1 players in. I'm going to go Gerson. Gerson doesn't have any chemistry. You've only got 2 players from Ligue 1, and you need 3 to get a chemistry point, and you've got no other Brazilians. So you can build away with your hybrids, but just as always, like it's always been in FIFA, where if you put someone in and he needs a strong link, you're probably going to have a very high chance of losing that player. That is all of the questions and all the stipulations and all of the scenarios I can kind of think of for Squad Builder Showdown. I think at the start, teams mightn't be quite as crazy and hybridy as they might have done, but they never are at the start of FIFA because we've only got gold cards to be playing with. Once we get into the FIFA cycle and more special cards are coming out and there's different options, you'll be able to have more options for strong links and for perfect links and stuff like that, and people's variety in their squads will increase as you can put in a Gerson because there's multiple different players that are Brazilian from Liga and that play left back, goalie, centre back and stuff like that, without it being super obvious that you're just going to pick Marquinhos. So I'm excited for it. It's fresh, it's new, but it's still Squad Builder Showdown. I think it's going to be very, very fun. And one thing I think is going to happen is that people are going to get away with their attacking lineup a lot more often, and all of the guesses are probably going to be concentrated on the defense, which is, for content, incredibly funny because people are going to be conceding stupid amounts of goals and discarding ridiculous amounts of players. So whereas in previous FIFAs, it's been sort of balanced where the guesses are pretty much even, 30%, 30%, 30% across the attack, midfield, defense, I think this year it might be like 15, 15, 60. It's going to be very funny. So that is Squad Builder Showdown FIFA 23. I'm very excited to upload the first episode for you guys. Let me know in the comment section which player you would like it to be on, and I'll see you guys then.